Okay, my friends, well, today we're going to do a little bit of an emergency video on your car key not turning, and that actually indicates bigger problems in the switch ignition system assembly, or the tumbler assembly, key tumbler, the face. And as you can hear, maybe my car is running, but there's no key there, right? So basically what happened is, if you're having a little bit of issue with turning your key, that it's locked, it won't turn to accessories, get that fixed immediately. Okay, immediately, because mine had a little sticking issue a couple of times here and there, no big deal, and then all of a sudden, boom, it didn't work. And luckily for me, I was at home, and my wife, I was going to take her back to work, but she can walk to work. It's like less than a mile, and she likes to walk anyway. But I couldn't get my car turned to the accessory part of the key, and therefore I couldn't release the parking. I couldn't put it in neutral to get it out of my driveway to get my pickup truck, and so I was pretty stuck. So I went on YouTube to look at and see how many. What the situation was on that, and there was like a ton of videos on put a little bit of WD-40, bang the edges, bang the face of the key, put your key inside the ignition and bang it, and none of that seemed to work. Now, eventually I did remove the cover, the panel on top, and it was two screws basically. Here's one right here, or three screws, I'm sorry, and then here's another one here for the top cover, and then underneath it was another screw. So it's just three screws to remove top and bottom, no big deal. At least that was to access this whole system. Now, what I showed you here is the key tumbler assembly, and what you have here, this whole part here, is the ignition switch assembly. You can see that it's held on to the steering column right here, okay, and that could be an issue later. So what happens here is that you need to figure out, is it my key? Is it worn out? Now, I've got 215,000 miles in this Kia, 2006 Kia. So things are going to start whacking, breaking and all that, all right? And so eventually, I guess that kind of worn out. And I have two keys, and both keys were behaving the same way. So that tells me it's not the key. Now, I looked at this part here, the assembly switch that includes the tumbler, the key and everything. That was about $87 on eBay. And this part here, the tumbler and the key with new keys, that was about $55. So that was a lot easier to swallow if I needed to buy that. If you need to buy the whole assembly, that's an issue, because as I showed you how it was clamped on to the steering column, these parts here, I can't reach. This part here and this part here are not screws. As you can see, they're more like riveted on there. And you can't get in there without taking off the entire panel, everything, all this stuff there to get a screw in there, or even a drill to, it's underneath here. So you can't get in there with a screwdriver. Yeah, I know, horrible car. Yeah, I'm one of those people. So you can't get in there. So unfortunately, you can do it. I know that most people can do kind of stuff like that. You're just popping off here, popping off there, a few screws. It's a time-consuming chore, and it's doable, unless, of course, you pay your mechanic, and then you're, of course, going to be paying through your nose. But more importantly, if you're in an emergency situation where you need your car now You can't take it to the mechanic and leave it there for a few days while they get the part. You can't sit around your house waiting for Amazon or eBay or whatever to deliver the part, because most likely no one's going to have this kind of part, especially for an old car like this, a 2006 Kia. No one's going to have these parts in stock. So, and like I said, I saw the prices on it. I saw one for $177 for the whole assembly set. Okay, so don't get freaked out if you see that. I did find some for $87, like I said. And of course, like I said, the issue could be this part here. And so what happened was that once you get it to accessory, which I'm sure many of you have seen the videos, you have to get the key to accessory to be able to pull this entire system out of the assembly. Now, you tried the WD-40, you tried hammering it, you tried this and that. So what I ended up doing was I called AAA. How did I get that out there? I called AAA, and he said, well, I can't move it out into the street technically because I have to have an address to deliver this car to, like your mechanic. So he played around with it for about 5 minutes, and what he did was he pushed the key in really, really, really hard as he was wiggling it, and he got it to work. And the reason I wasn't man enough to do that was because, as you can see, my fingers were horribly cut up from an accident I had at work, and this is already a week later. So I'm a lot better now. So that's why I wasn't man enough to push the key in, or at least at the same time, I didn't know that was an option. And so we took it out of my driveway, put it on the street. I came back later, and of course, I knew I was going to have the turning the key issue, which I did. But this time, I put my man pants on and pushed the key in a lot, real hard, and got it to turn. It's still jammed, and I got it to click. Got it to turn. After that, of course, I'm sure many of you have seen that there are buttons in different ignition switches, different cars. For this Kia 2006, there's a button right about here. There's a button right about here. You can get like a little piece of wire or something to just push in, and the entire assembly ignition tumbler, the tumbler key assembly comes out. This, of course, is the key in here, and that came out. And the funny thing was that with the key in it inside here, the whole thing just turned like nothing. It's like, what the hell? The whole thing just turned. I knew it wasn't the key. That was telling me that this was not an issue, and it was kind of telling me that this was the issue, which I hoped not. I was praying that it wasn't, because then you'd have to take off the whole freaking assembly, the whole panel and everything, right? So as I was playing around with stuff that I shouldn't be playing around with, I realized, there's that little yellow thingamabob there, and look what it does. It goes in. Can you see it? It goes in. Now, I don't know stuff like that, okay? I don't know anything about cars. And it turns out that little yellow sticky stick and goes into this little spot here, and of course this shape is also inside where I just showed you. You see the shape of that, where the yellow part is? Okay, well, that matches up with this, and apparently that wasn't the part that was turning. I thought maybe it was that part in there, and I was kind of hoping not. So as I was playing around, I was putting this thing back in there. Give me 1 second here, because I'm a dork. Let me see. Give me 1 second here, folks. Okay. So I was playing around with the whole thing, right? The whole key is inside. It's in here. And I was trying to put this back in there, back inside the assembly, and it wasn't fitting. It didn't fit. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And there's only, here's the button right here. Here's that button. Okay, here's that button that prevents you from, if you want to push this button, you can take out this entire assembly, or this entire tumbler and key from the ignition switch assembly. And of course, I was like, what the heck's going on here? I can't get it to work. And so, I can't get it to fit. So eventually I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep playing with this stupid thing. So as it sits like this, okay, you will see this little rubber thingy here sitting inside here. Okay, like this. Okay, you can just pry out this rubber and you turn the head or the face of the key and it'll come out. See? It comes out just like that. But you still have the key, switch, and everything inside. To remove this here, you have to get out, you have to move this C washer, which is located right about right here. Now, once I didn't want to damage it. I don't think it's really damaged because I didn't know what I was doing, and I thought maybe I'd have to put it back. So as you can see, it's a little bit damaged, but you can put it back in there. And by the way, this was the toughest part of the whole job at the moment. This was a real bitch, man. It was tough. I didn't want to damage it, but I knew I had to take it out. Once I took it out from here, I was able to slide this whole thing out of the tumbler. Now all the key, the little notches that go into the teeth here, they're all just kind of hanging out like this. So what I did was I put a piece of tape, as you can see, around here. And give me 1 second here. My computer graphics are not that good. So it does work. So what I did then was I'm going to screw around with this. So I decided I'm going to match this, right? I'm going to match this part here with how it's shaped in there, right? And give me 1 second. Let me see here. Up here, there. There's that yellow part, and then look at that. There you go. There you go. It's working. Now, obviously, you don't want to drive around like that. So, what you can do, turn the car off if you want, and then you can put the face of the ignition switch. Okay, I'm gonna put the phone down for a second because I gotta do this. Sorry. Okay, so there. I put the key in with the face over here. Now I gotta match the entrance here, or this part here. Okay, I gotta match this here again with the what's inside there. There, it's in. Now I'm gonna bring the face, and it'll fit right there. And then you're set. You're all set. You're all set. Now put some tape around here, which I do have. I've got this tape hanging out here. I already had it on, so I'm gonna put it back on in a minute. And you have the tape around here. Now you can go ahead and put the cover, you know, the top and the bottom cover, plastic covers. And it turns out, in my opinion, that with age, somehow either this somewhere in here got warped or damaged or something, or maybe something inside the assembly around is damaged to the point where this doesn't really move anymore, because it's supposed to turn. Every time you turn the key on, it's supposed to turn. That's why it's called the tumbler. It tumbles, literally. And so somewhere in here is worn out, or somewhere inside here it's worn out. So cross your fingers that it's this thing here, because it's a bit cheaper. And, well, it is a bit cheaper and less time consuming, because if it's something that is inside the assembly that will not allow this to turn anymore because it is worn out, damaged, or whatever, then you'd have to either pay a mechanic to take off the entire freaking thing. You're paying another, at least in this Kia, another $30 to replace this whole thing, and the time consuming to take off the entire dash and everything, or you pay your mechanic God knows how much money they're going to charge you to do all that kind of physical work. Anyway, folks, in case of an emergency, I hope this video has helped you. I hope you have a few little tools in your car. I don't, because I'm not a car guy, and that's stupid. But hopefully, my little video here will save you some trouble in the case of an emergency where you absolutely have got to keep your car in your possession. You cannot leave it at the mechanic, and you cannot leave it in your house waiting for parts to get fixed. Okay, my friends? And again, I didn't see this part on YouTube, so I decided to go ahead and do this, just screw it around. I didn't break anything, and I hope that it's a positive video for you folks, and I hope that it somewhere along the line, I hope it does help you. All right, take care.